Hugh Jackman and J.K. Simmons said that they really didn't know anything about Gary Hart, and they really had to come up to speed. How did you get them into, besides the research they did, what did you do to set the tone?
A great question. And look, frankly, I didn't know much about Gary Hart when I went into making this film. So I was very lucky, and I worked with these two writers, Matt Bai, who had been worked at the New York Times Magazine, covered 5 presidencies, Jay Carson, also a co-writer who had been the press secretary for Hillary in 2008 and for Howard Dean, and worked with many senators, or continue to be in Congress. So we wrote a script on the back of all their experience and their knowledge. Hugh Jackman researches harder than any actor I've ever met. I mean, he had 5 notebooks of hard information. It measured this high. He knew speeches that were not in the movie. He knew talking points that were not in the movie. We would put him in press conferences where he didn't know what the questions were going to come from. He learned to throw an axe, and so he could throw a bullseye on the first take. He's just incomparable when it comes to his devotion to getting it right.
I understand you had a massive script for this film, and that you used a lot of it to just kind of bounce off of, that they got to do some improvisation.
What we did was we made an early decision to bring every cast member every day. If you were in Atlanta while we were shooting, you were on set. We were going to put you in costume, hair, and makeup, and you were going to have a wire on you. Usually you'd only put wire on, the 2 or 3 actors who were talking, but we wired everybody. And the idea was there's the script, and that's the dialogue. But then there's scenes that we'd write that weren't in the script, and that would be other people's dialogue. And then if you didn't get one of those, we'd give you a magazine from 1987 and go, all right, read this article, and now tell him about it. That's your dialogue. And it became the job of our sound mixer to just keep control over all of that. So as he had 12, 15, 20 tracks all up, and he's just adjusting the levels and kind of pointing your attention with your ears. Most movies point you where to look with your eyes. This is a movie that points you with your ears. And from moment 1, it's a movie where you're hearing 3 conversations at once. And you were forced...
Organized chaos.
Yeah, just like a campaign. And you're forced to ask yourself, all right, what's important? What should I be listening to? This is the philosophical and the cinematic question of the movie, is what is relevant.
There is no privacy. The cameras go everywhere.
The one thing I ever asked was, don't embarrass me.
Senator, you had sex with that woman?
You can't be serious. There's no need for that.
Don't you think you owe it to us to be forthcoming?
Owe you?
You're running for president.
I'm aware of that, Tom. It's in the paper.
Well, you have a responsibility.
I know full well what my responsibilities are. Do you know yours?
The real question is not about Hart. The real question is about the rest of us. What do we care about? What is important to us? Maybe it is important. I don't know. It's not for me to say. I just don't think this story was evaluated properly in 1987. I think it was turned into a tabloid comedy. A good one. It had all the right beats. It had good dialogue. Had a funny boat name. Had this picture. But at its core, there was a more important story that really wasn't discussed. And now we've had the time, and I think Matt Bai was really smart when he looked back into that story and really thought about how that all came together. What was it about 1987? This year when, CNN handed satellite phones to all their journalists, and A Current Affair went on television, and you had a generation of journalists who grew up watching, Woodward and Bernstein become celebrities. How did that all have an impact on this moment?